Perfect.
Wonderful. Great. So let's kick this off. Thank you very much for coming to The Green Show here. My name is Roessner. I'll be the moderator for this evening for you here with these amazing panelists. Thank you first and foremost here to Mastercard's Tech Hub. We have Amber here in the background there to guide you through any questions you might have here of this wonderful place where Mastercard is testing new innovations and making our lives more livable. And then also to Faye and Powell here for organizing The Green Show. And I want to kick this off by saying that this is The Green Show, so we're talking about sustainability. But in the majority of cases when we talk about sustainability, people have in mind first and foremost environmental issues, which is obviously true. However, you'll have the pleasure today to talk about other parts of the sustainability aspects in life, which cover social sustainability, community building, environmental parts as well, but then also business sustainability. So without further hesitation, first and foremost, I want to introduce myself. So Roessner, I'll be your moderator today. My background, I'm the founder and CEO of a tech company called One Earth Rising, where in our endeavor of building video game technology, we also want to empower gamers to make an impact in the world, connect games with social impact causes. So I'm very proud to walk you and talk you through the day today, and hopefully we'll have a long day of fun together here. So without further ado, we are now starting our first panel, which is about social sustainability under the topic Building Inclusive Communities Through Corporate Responsibility. And I have Michelle Adepoju from KÍLÈNTÁR and Sergeant Johnny Hines from the NYPD. A wonderful coupling here, which I'm very, very excited to have both of you on. And so here we're going to talk about the impact that brands and communities, or that brands can make to empower communities. So to kick this off, I would love to hear from both of you how that starts and why this is important. As a caveat here, I'm from Germany. We have historically made some bad decisions in our past. So we overcame that also through educating the new generations. So Michelle, I would love to start with you. Introduce us to your brand, Nigeria-based, and what you do for the community and how you approach that topic.
Okay, so my brand is called KÍLÈNTÁR, which means what are you selling in Yoruba? And it's a women's wear brand where we work with a lot of traditional craftsmanships and we reimagine it in a way that is globally resonate. And what we do is, I work with a lot of women around West Africa, particularly in Nigeria and Burkina Faso, who hand weave our products and hand dye, and then we put our users on a journey of how the process is made whilst building the communities. Right now I work with about 40 plus women who hand weave our garments and also hand dye our products.
Wonderful. This process then helps to create a community that basically can do this on scale for other companies maybe in the future? Or how does that long-term affect the communities?
Definitely. It actually empowers the communities because at the moment we have retailers that we work with, like large retailers in the US, Moda Operandi, and they stock a lot of our hand-woven garments. So the way that we are able to do this is just by planning ahead. So we'll tell them, well, we can make X amount of garments in maybe 3 months, and then everything is just pre-planned. So it's all hand-woven, all the cotton is homegrown in Burkina Faso as well. So it's just really about planning in a way that it can be scaled for the retailers. But if we're trying to make thousands and thousands and thousands, that's not the demand that we're trying to meet. We're trying to still keep it in a way that is sustainable and ethically made. So everything is slow, but we have been able at the moment to still keep it in a way that we can meet demands for retailers and also make orders.
Wonderful. So empowering communities for the future to really then take care of business themselves, building new environments for production.
Yeah.
And really, empowering and also bringing the culture back to other countries.
Yes, right? Exactly. It's very important for us to be able to keep that story alive. So most of these techniques have been passed on from generations. And then we are now creating garments like what I'm wearing today, modern day styles, but still keeping the traditional craftsmanship alive for like generations and generations to come.
Wonderful. Some of us are going to be lucky to see some other of these garments here today at the show of yours. So I'm very excited for that. Yes. Sergeant Hines, NYPD,
yes,
obviously, and I'm very excited, Johnny. You are doing incredible work in the community here in New York City to help kids, get into other fields of potential businesses. I have to read this out because it's a mouthful, but you're the Special Project Supervisor of the Youth Strategy Division of the NYPD, which is incredible. I did not know that existed, and I'm very excited for you to tell us more about it, what the project does, and how you empower communities here in New York City.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jan. Thank you, everybody here for participating, and thank you, Michelle. You're an amazing inspiration. I know you started off in marketing, and then you went over to branding your clothing line. That's an amazing thing. So I work with the NYPD, and usually when you think of cops, you just think of a walk and beat downtown, 42nd Street. I work on a different side. I work with kids and youth, and I work with the Youth Strategy Division. And what I'm tasked to do is kind of create new ways that engage the youth to then branch off into different avenues and different careers using the NYPD as a launching pad. My specific role is Special Project Supervisor. So I kind of get to do cool stuff and get paid to do it. That's kind of like in the short version. One of the things we're doing right now is we're trying to create sneakers with kids, because another thing is I'm a real geek. So I like to do things that are cool to me, and then kind of have kids that are like what I do to kind of branch off and do their own thing. So we're developing a sneaker program. And we're going to use Gravity Sketch, which is a 3D printing kind of AI kind of headset to then Gravity 3D print the sneakers in AI. And then we're going to try to 3D print those sneakers and then try to let the brand see what they want to do. And my goal for that is to use sustainable ink, materials, algae ink and stuff like that. So we could have the kids think about sustainability while they're creating sneakers. And instead of being just, buyers, they're actually creators now with that. And then the list goes on. We have a cooking class we're doing, calling it Passport to Plate, where it's from all over the world, food. We have a real estate program that we're doing over there that the kids get to get their real estate licensing. My daughter's in that class right now, and she's going to be a real estate agent. So if you're looking for in the market, I know you live in New York, hook a brother up. No, I'm joking. But really what it is we're trying to think outside the box and give these kids a launching pad so then they can further a career. And then hopefully we get a lot of people that work with us and see, hey, it's not always a walk and beat downtown. It's also, helping kids and expanding kids and just really learning and growing together. Then maybe the outlook later on generations won't be so one-sided.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is what I love. The one aspect of this, what I love so much, is that you're not only empowering kids to maybe become a better person in the future and also get an opportunity in a job, but you're also creating a good relationship with the police force, right? Yeah. So it's not the traditional, okay, the police is bad for us, so that the relationship gets, or that story gets broken down, and then you can build a new story around this. I really appreciate the work that you do. For both of you, and Johnny, let's start with you. What is it that people talk about sustainability, environmental again comes up first normally in their minds, which is absolutely important. But as we are talking here, empowering communities, what is the biggest pushback from people if it comes to that? Specifically on the fashion side, I go into in a second, but the building community, empowering people. What do you need more from the community that you are serving here to make your life, your job easier, and with that, the lives of the kids that you work with?
So the reason why I start off with marketing is because, in marketing, basically, you learn a lot of different techniques and how to pitch an idea or a brand or something relative to what you're trying to sell to get people interested. And it's no different than the NYPD. We're trying to, I won't say market, or push a different agenda, but we're trying to get people to see a broader aspect of what we do every day. And just being in this room and just talking to so many great people and knowing, so many great people, you want to bring that connection that I have to the department to then broaden the aspect of what the department can do, right? Because the sky's the limit, with NYPD, you can work with a whole different things, but it's bringing those connections to the NYPD and then having the kids benefit from that. That's the kind of that's where I really have to go into the lab.
Gotcha.
And really kind of work out how to work with the sustainability, how to make it jive together.
Yeah. As the whole room, we'll think about this a little bit more because obviously also myself, I've never heard of this before, so I love it, and we need to let the world know. Michelle, on your side, you started your business. Maybe talk a little bit about how this came to life when you started with the community aspect of things. But through that process, people and companies that I talk to in the fashion space always push back, have a concern about, this is so much more work, so much more effort, so much more cost involved. Is there something that you can share to business people maybe here in the room or individuals to say, hey, this might be a challenge, but this is how you overcome it, this is how you start?
So for me, how I actually even started my business was in 2018, I was traveling across West Africa, and I was really inspired by the artisans that I came across upon my travels and how they were really working they were doing a lot of handwork.
Yeah.
And I felt like this is what I want to work with. This is the type of people that I want to work with. So for me, it wasn't really a thing where I was thinking, okay, I need to try and push sustainability. It was just more about being really inspired with the people that I saw working and trying to figure out how can I incorporate this in my work. So with that, because all of our work is handwork and it's handmade and the materials are hand grown sometimes and the dyes that we work with are natural, it was just always the forefront of my brand and it was always the vision I had for what I wanted to do. So it's not like I was planning for it to be sustainable, but it was just what I was very interested and motivated by, if that makes sense, which is why I find it very important to continue that aspect of the storytelling. So we're always showing people how our products are made, showing the people that are working, the people that are behind the clothes, and also just letting them know that this is a brand that truly cares about the people that they're working with, and also the practices and keeping that tradition alive. So for me, that's really how I started. And with that, it has also made me just learn more about, okay, well, how can we keep this ethical and how can we just continue to be a sustainable brand in this aspect of what we're doing? Yeah.
Magically, this ties so nicely into a conversation that we'll have later also about business sustainability. But is there one learning that you would like to share with the audience where you say okay, don't make this mistake that I did. Maybe there's some approach here. I love that you started naturally by just loving your craft, right? And it came about how it came about now for you. Is there something that people, even established brands, that they could do to go back to maybe the drawing board and say, if you want to incorporate more community building aspects, this is what you should do?
I think people really need to understand who is actually working behind the clothes, right? And I think when you really understand that and you go there and you see the type of lifestyle that they live and how they're working, you naturally would become more interested in, okay, how can we really build on this community, if that makes sense? So for me, when I was traveling around a lot, like Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, and Nigeria, I saw the work that they were putting in with the hand weaving and the hand dyeing, and then I wanted to really put this more on a global scale. So I feel like maybe some brands they might not really care, or they don't really know how things are really being made and how that is affecting the people that are working's lifestyle. So yeah.
Johnny, on your side, the kids that you're working with, let's talk a little bit about numbers. You're one person, right? I don't know, is there a team behind you or is it just you? How many kids can you work with on a session basis? This is not, right, you're not scalable, obviously.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I can't multiply it myself. But We have access to every kid in the city, citywide. We work with school principals, districts. It's funny you said storytelling is really key, and I believe that 100%. One of the things that we did here was I did a music program, and I wanted to do like a kind of like a documentary of like making music with cops and kids that make music. But to me, it wasn't the music that was the point. It was the making of the music that was the point. So I tried to get Netflix to document the thing, and it kind of came through. But documentaries cost a lot of money. So,
Yep.
but the whole idea.
Do a Lego movie.
Yeah, I should do a Lego
you should
movie.
do a Lego
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, Lego movie. Those were good. But we actually recorded, and I don't think this has ever been done before. We recorded inside One Police Plaza in the press room. So we turned that into a music studio, and we did like a Latin. It was crazy. But the idea was the storytelling, the story behind you seeing cops and kids work together, and it's not about anything but just making the music. I'm pretty sure when you traveled, you just saw the storytelling behind the fabrics, behind the development of what it takes just to make a T-shirt or a patch or something like that, and that would inspire you to kind of go further and do what you're doing. So it's no different for me on my end. I'm so inspired by just meeting people and talking to people like yourselves all the time, and I just want to bring you guys in on the ride that I'm just waving. I don't know when it's over. The engine's still working. I think it's an EV. I'm just chilling. I plugged it in and it's good to go. So I'm just trying to like ride it out and just do as much as I can and really just touch as many people as I can before I go.
Well, I see already here like there's maybe even like a collaboration possible here between the two of you. That would be fantastic.
Don't get me started.
But what you're highlighting here is really also that, again, this is very limited right now. Right? So what we need to do as a community is really also here to support you. And just with a quick show of hands, how many of you have ever heard of this program? There you go. So this kind of like this way for the camera. There's two people that raised their hand, and I'm with you on the other side because there needs to be a lot more PR around this because it makes the lives better. We didn't talk about this before, so I don't know. Off the top of your head, are there any stats on how this has improved kids' lives, or is this even possible to measure? It's probably pretty hard.
So it's really crazy. We have numbers for everything else but that. Like,
yeah, I can imagine.
So one of the things is that they try to say, well, how many kids went through your program, or how many kids are going through your program. Off the top of my head, we're doing the drone soccer program, which I could get into a whole litany about what that is. But really, it's having kids learn about STEM and how to build drones and then fly them in a sports setting. But I can only do 10 kids at a time. I can't have drones breaking and catching on fire and all that stuff. So,
all the fun stuff.
All the fun stuff that we all love. But what it tells us that instead of having just, I can impact 10 kids and those 10 kids could go impact another 10 kids. I don't have to have 4,000 kids in my program. But if we keep doing it, we'll eventually get there. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what it is. It's quality over quantity.
Gotcha.
Basically.
Michelle, talking about quality over quantity, where is the limit? So in terms of if you want to scale the business, right? So how many of the Weavers, if there's a number that you can put on this, is your team employing right now, is working with on a regular basis? Just like a random.
So I work with about 30 weavers in Burkina Faso, and then in Nigeria, I have an in-house team of seamstresses that's about 10 now, and then I also work with people who hand dye the clothes as well. That's about 5, and yes.
And if you would scale this in the terms, is that even possible to bring technology? I know it's like a hand process right now, but if we're talking about this, bringing this into a broader scale of different companies maybe, is there abilities, are there features that we could employ that could scale this up from a technology standpoint? Is there something that could help there?
In terms of technology, I'm not sure. I'm not sure with technology, but with this type of work, because people just always need to understand the process. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's not a thing that, because it is a slow process, it's not about trying to make mass. And even if we were to do that, it'll be quite concerning, because then it's like, how are they now able to make this amount? That means the people that will be working wouldn't be sleeping, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's not about trying to make like millions of garments, you know, it's really just about trying to keep it ethical, ethically sourced, ethically produced, and then still scaling that, but in a way that is making people understand. Because I feel like a lot of people do want to shop sustainably, but then when they actually have to shop sustainably, it can be a problem. So it's like, okay, the lead time might be 10 days, but then, so people are like, okay, I want to shop sustainably, but can I have my item tomorrow?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, well, no, you can't because it's handmade. But of course, if we're working with retailers and things like that, we just communicate with them and let them know that this is how long it's going to take to make 200 garments. And the reason why is because it is handmade, it is hand woven, it is hand dyed. And when they appreciate that process, they understand.
And do you see that retailers also are more open to that now? The tide is turning a bit to that?
Yeah, definitely. There's a few retailers that we have reached out to us and we work with, like Moda or Brandy, and they definitely understand the process and they appreciate it as well. So I think that consumer shopping behaviors is changing in a way, but we still also have a long way to go.
Gotcha. I want the two of you to think about like one last line that you would like the audience to take away basically at the end of our conversation here. But I want to open up, we have time for like 2 questions. If you have a question, would invite you to ask it now. Hand sign, otherwise I will continue here and just talk a little bit more. But if you have a question, let me know. Here you go.
Michelle, what is the impact within Africa?
Oh, yeah, there's a...
Which is a continent in terms of like awareness and sales. So Africa, you know, has 1. billion people, and it has the youngest population of somewhat aware who are using the internet. So what is trade and commerce like within the continent itself for your particular product, and or sort of like this type of, in this category? I'm really interested to know.
What is trade and...
No. What is like sales and the interest in this category?
Across the continent?
Across the continent, yeah.
So we do have a good customer base in Nigeria, because I'm Nigerian and my seamstresses are in Nigeria. However, we have really been able to take this more on a global scale, and I find that we've been able to really push the narrative, because we're really trying to change the whole narrative of African fashion, what it is to have like made in Nigeria, made in Africa is luxury, because the process is the same as made in Italy. You know, it's still the same. It's still the same process. So we're really changing that narrative of African fashion, and within the continent, people really appreciate and are happy that we're able to put this on the map. In terms of sales-wise, we do get interest, but it's just not as much as how we've been able to push it on that global scale. Yes. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
One more question? Well, the lady behind you, and then you. So we'll add, we do 2.
Okay. For Michelle, I had a question, or maybe I guess a statement. You were saying, he had asked you specifically about technology and how you can combine technology with your clothing. And then you also spoke beautifully about the uniqueness of your product and the people who make it. I wonder if there can be some sort of a marriage between, let's say, a QR code, or let's say something on your tags where we could scan it and learn more about the person who made that, what life is like there, the process in making that. Like, I wanted to know what you thought about that. And then for Sergeant Hines, I wanted to know what are some of the things that the NYPD as a whole is doing for sustainability, green energy, EVs, anything like that. And then you spoke of a farm that you guys, or you spoke of a culinary program that you're doing. Are you guys doing anything with local farmers or anything?
Yeah,
Very
in terms,
interesting.
yeah, that is actually so brilliant, and it's something that I need to definitely integrate. On our packaging, we have, we normally write who makes the item at the end, and then we normally have like a little sheet that people can open up that has the explanation of what we're doing. But I do think a QR code is definitely more current and nice. Yeah, that's amazing. We're definitely going to integrate that. I like that. Thank you.
My company can help there too. So there's
Really?
a marriage here.
Perfect.
Look at this.
I love that.
Oh, put this all together beautifully.
Yeah.
Johnny.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you scan the QR code and it kind of tells you about who made it
tells
and
the
where
whole
it is,
story,
the whole
and maybe
story.
and like a video as well. It can be played.
Yeah.
So I love that.
That's the technology. Thank you for that. Awesome. What the NYPD is doing. So we are the largest fleet of sustainable cars. We have that going on. The problem is that it's hard the infrastructure of New York is kind of hard to maintain that. So if you can imagine a cop car running all the time, chasing bad guys. There was a story of a car that had to call off a pursuit because it was at 3%. And it couldn't follow a little pursuit, so I had to go back to the shop. So listen, we're working hard on that. The NYPD, New York as a whole, is one of the biggest cities, I think, if not the biggest city when it comes to sustainability with recycling. I think we're the only large city that breaks up recyclables into two categories, or maybe three now. So we're working hard as far as the job is concerned. We're trying to make all of our cars EVs, but then I think 2026 or 7, I might be a little off there. But as you can imagine, of course, the fleet is, it's massive. So that is one of the things on the job level we're trying to do, because we are conscious of, driving cars up and down the block all the time, circling, keeping everyone safe. We have drone technology now that we're implementing now that helps with aiding in patrolling and looking for missing persons and stuff like that. So we have technology that helps us cut back on paperwork. We have a lot of different things that we're working on. As far as the youth is concerned, one of my jobs is to try to gear them toward sustainable lines of clothing. Or side note, true story, I ordered a bag made from recyclable material, and it took like 3 weeks to come. Like this, like just off your topic, because usually you're used to getting a bag in Amazon like 2 seconds, but it takes a while. So it takes a mindset of getting that, waiting a little bit to get a better made, healthier bag, so to speak. I'm an EV owner, and I had to really get into learning how to wait to get gas. Like waiting in line to charge was a whole process for me. And I stood online and wait, and I see people reading books and watching Netflix. I'm like, yo, this is a whole ecosystem of world that I've never really got into. So as far as the job is concerned, we are trying to move forward with a more sustainable fleet, more sustainable programming, and also the way we do handle business, so to speak, is trying to gear toward more helping out the environment with that.
I apologize, we do have to switch over to the next panel, so I apologize that we can't take the other question here. Last note here, I want you to share, where can people find out about the brand and also your work?
It's KÍLÈNTÁR.com and www.KÍLÈNTÁR.com. Instagram, KÍLÈNTÁR, everything KÍLÈNTÁR. And then my personal, my name is Michelle Adepoju, so LinkedIn is there as well.
Johnny?
NYPD.org. No, I'm joking. Just Youth Strategies Division, NYPD Youth Strategies Commission. I work at a community center. It's the only building in the city dedicated to community work with the NYPD, 127 Pennsylvania Avenue. I work there. We have a whole bunch of programs there for you guys, so please check us out, Instagram, YouTube, whatever. And please email me and just say I saw Sergeant Hines talking on the panel, and I'll try to get back to you shortly. If I'm not going to be downtown, I'll help.
Wonderful. So I'll close this out by summarizing here for sustainable fashion producers here. Really think about empowering communities, going back to the source where these garments are made from, or made at, and then really empower these communities there. And also here on Sergeant Hines' side, Johnny's side, please empower this city to do a better job, or not a great job, but scaling that job for more community, for more kids around the city. Empower them. Thank you. A round of applause.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.